Recording in progress.
Hopefully Steve knows
I guess I better sit down,
Didn't
right?
Steve not want to her?
I said better sit down with the recording.
Turn my phone off.
Turn my phone off.
Do we have enough people to vote?
Yeah, you have a quorum.
Great. Okay, we're gonna, call this meeting to order. There we go. I hope all of you read your 5 million meeting minutes. Did anyone see anything that was glaring?
I didn't.
I didn't either. Anyone else?
Is there anyone joining you from online, Heidi, that you know of?
Not that I know
Okay.
of, although.
Do you want a motion for each one separately, or would you entertain a motion for all of them together?
I think we have to do each one separately.
You-
Okay. And I don't call, do I call the motion? No.
She's
Okay.
gonna, I think, ask for a motion.
Please motion.
I would like to move that we accept all of the minutes that were presented to us.
Call out the dates, please.
And I don't have that in front of me. Do you have an agenda? Great. The minutes from the Public Art Committee meetings from July 24th, December 4th, and January 22nd to be approved.
I second.
We're not gonna,
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you, Tina.
you can keep it. I'll
Okay,
borrow Julia's.
Blue, would you put up the historic mural sketches? I guess one at a time, put the left one. That's where they'll be going. Oh, here we go. So I want to, we are going to hopefully vote tonight on the historic mural that Tony and Carol and Denise and I and Susan and let's think about who else. We had the archaeologist Ed Otter, we had Andrew Leiter, we had Trina Brown Hicks. We had we've talked to the byways, we've talked to the park commissioners. We have really made our rounds. So, and Michael Rosado is the artist. These are the final sketches. This will be for the left-hand side, and these are going out on the wall on Kings Highway. So this is the first one, and then there's a second one. This is a partner project with PAC, with AIB, Art and Bloom, and with the Lewis Historic Society. And this has been a really fun project to be a part of. And it's so cool how it went from one place to a whole new place. And Michael Rosado has been such an amazing person to bring this to life. So this is kind of, our theme was working on the water. So the creek to canal in Lewis and the different types of work, different types of activities that took place on the water. So could you go back one, Blue, just for a second? So Michael started with the Native Americans on the left-hand side. He's moved through to the settlers, Dutch settlers coming, kind of putting their stake in the ground. I love how he's connected the foreground and the background. He's got ways that they were working when Native Americans were here and other options as we moved forward. And would you do the next one, Blue? And then he's got the sailors, different sailors that have been identified. Andrew Leiter was great with this beautiful version of history. We've got the bombardment in the back. We have the kids running are actually Underground Railroad. That's how that is being depicted. And then the shipbuilders. And this just feels like what we've decided and thought from what he brought us. It's really a very well encompassing version of what Lewis has been building on the building blocks of Lewis. Does anybody have any questions or any comments?
What is the medium he's going to be working in?
It is acrylic paint?
No, it's
A wall paint.
I don't remember the actual type of paint, but
For
he
murals.
paints
I think
on
I have it.
substrate
Mm-hmm.
and then attaches the substrate to the wall. So he does it in his studio, and he puts 2
And it's an outdoor paint, so and it should last 20 years, and the substrate should last even longer than that. And he has done this all over. He did the Harriet Tubman. That's kind of one he's really well known for, where she reaches out in Cambridge. So he's very schooled in this type of work.
So the art teacher in me, I love the fact that he has used something natural like trees to divide the space. That's really elegant. And I also, as you said, love the idea of the the foreshortening of the picture plane. So the deer coming across that plane in the first one, and then this one where you have the child that is crawling over that. It makes it really accessible. It draws you in.
Yeah. And I think from a long distance and a short distance, it will be exciting. Anybody?
I have one question.
Yeah.
Is there going to be any signage or material for people to understand and read more about what this is?
I think there eventually will. We don't have that written into this portion. We're going to need lighting, we're going to need signage, and we're going to need maybe like a pamphlet or something in the museum but we haven't. We just want to get this thing on the wall. Then we will get there.
Okay.
But we will need, I mean, they may do something, much has been talked about, like the little space in the museum having a whole walkway where it talks to you about it. They've talked about signage below. We're gonna need to flush that out, and it probably will need to be like its own little addition. And plantings in front that don't impede on the plantings that are there. So we're gonna need things in addition to what, and this grant is $30,000. It's paid for 10, 10, and 10. Yeah. Anybody else?
What's the timeline, Heidi?
We're gonna get this, so the timeline is, we're hoping to approve today. Then it goes to mayor and council March 10th. Then we pay our deposit. And then it's when the artist can fit it in, which he said it could be as early as July. It could be in the fall. And we're really like, he can't put us on his schedule until we have approval. So it's kind of like.
And he won't put us on the schedule until he's got his 50% deposit. Of course, we've already paid him some money.
Yeah.
Then you get the,
Yeah,
mobile.
'cause Blue said they need to come to the microphone. Okay.
Anybody else, any questions or comments or anything? I mean, this has been,
Society.
Want me to repeat all that?
and this is the first time that we have walked through the process, working with partnerships and also working through where we're starting the process with a conversation and then moving it along. And I feel like it's worked really, it's been a fruitful conversation. It's been fruitful changes. It's been exciting to do it. It was fun to meet with Ed Otter and see what he had. And that talking about the objects really helped us, flush out the idea. And so I feel like this has been really, it's been a fun process. I don't know
Well,
how you.
clearly, the synergy of the working with three groups at the same time clearly has produced some really good results, I think.
From the sketches?
What I'm saying is the synergy of the three groups working together
Yes,
has
we
really
love it.
produced
Yes.
an amazing project.
Thank you, Barry. I agree.
I
And I'm looking
concur.
forward to it coming into fruition.
Yeah. So,
May I ask a
oh yeah.
question? When you mentioned this schedule for the artist, the muralist, possibly July, possibly the fall, is that when he would actually be doing the installation or when he would have completed the murals and be ready to?
He paints everything in his studio.
I understand, so that.
Well,
those-
yes, those could be, he probably will be painting in July, and then once he's done painting, he'll come in, but it could be fall. We don't know.
I understand. So that, those dates are just possibly when the installation could be done or possibly when he gets around to being
Yeah.
able to do the,
Yeah.
I understand.
We won't have it until he gets his 50% and he gets approval because
Got it.
he has this happening And you know, these city projects, they take a little while. So he has this happening all over the place, because he's pretty well recognized at this point, so.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you for.
So there's no clear answer,
Yeah.
but we will get one as soon as we get him some money.
Yeah,
Tim,
yes, sir,
am I on speaker?
you are.
Okay. Last time I spoke to him, he's currently in Florida doing 2 murals down there. But last time I spoke to him, he said if we get permission to do it and we give him the deposit,
Right,
it would likely be July.
okay, great,
But it depends on how soon we let him know that it's a go.
got it, I take it.
Because he, you know, obviously is a really busy man.
Sure, and that's a good thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's one. Thank you very much.
Okay.
Appreciate that, Tony.
So, I would like to make a motion to vote, or I would like to ask for someone to make a motion.
Take a day to walk.
Right, and do you want to shape that motion in any way as a chairperson? or
I
do you
would
wanna
like to
just
make a
leave it?
motion to approve this project to send it to mayor and council.
Second.
No, somebody's gotta make the motion, I'm
Make the
just,
motion.
I'm just
Okay.
suggesting the
Right.
I
motion.
move that we approve this project and send it on to mayor and city council.
I'll second. Go ahead.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Yay! Woohoo!
Who seconded that? Who gets credit for that?
I think Susan did.
Susan did?
Yeah.
Okay, good. Thank you.
Look at us, we are just making moves.
We are, you are.
Well, and then I want to, Julia, thank you for sending our grant for 2026 to DDOA.
You're welcome.
And thank you, bye. And then also, thank you, Susan, for working on the AARP grant. We have really done a lot in this month, I think.
Yes.
I will say, look at us,
Yeah,
watch out. It's a miracle. So the mural is heading to mayor and council, and as far as our installations, we spoke with Parks and Rec, and we got rave reviews at Parks and Rec. So we are going Canal Front Park with the 3 vines, and we're going HP Smith with the tall towers. So that's exciting, and both of the artists are on board. We're having contracts made. We are moving forward. So that's all good. Anything else that we need for that? Oh, I need to talk to maintenance once we get some very clear
Yeah.
parameters.
may I ask a question, excuse me for interrupting you again? Regarding the mayor and council meeting on the 10th, will you be present?
I would love to be, but I'm going to be in Munich, Germany. So Tony is heading that.
So Tony's gonna handle that?
I'm sorry,
Tony's
Tony.
on board for that, right?
Yeah.
Okay,
You did say to me that you would nominate somebody from the Public Art Committee to be there, and I did actually separately talk to Steve Walker,
Oh, okay.
because I happened
That's
to
fine.
bump into him and
That's fine.
said
Yeah.
I'd be happy
I'm good
if he was the person, but I'd also be happy if Barry was too.
Whatever.
Okay. So anyway, just as long as someone from the PAC is present, and that would be the 10th at
Yeah.
5, or,
5:30,
yeah,
So
5:30.
probably 6 by the time we go on.
6:15,
yeah,
Okay.
right.
but be
10.
there just in case. You
Yeah.
don't want them to
It's as
have to
early as
defer.
that, Is it 6:15?
No, the meeting starts at 5:30.
And it's here?
No,
No,
it's
it's
at,
It's in the cafe.
Yep.
In council's chambers,
Mhm.
right.
Okay.
I'll save a seat for you, Jen.
Well, not necessarily to be
microphone,
recorded.
microphone. It has to be.
Okay. My wife is having cataract surgery in Salisbury that day,
Oh,
and I don't know how soon I'm gonna be back.
Well, do you want to, I mean, Barry, do you think you could bring this to,
I'm sorry?
He's new business.
Who's
Oh,
in-
why not?
His
well,
business
we
is
could
new
have Barry
business
bring it, and
on the agenda.
Oh, yeah.
Carol, you're
I mean,
away that
yeah.
day, right?
Yeah,
Oh,
or someone else could represent, is there someone else from?
Yeah, I mean, Carol could do it, or Sue, who's prepared the PowerPoint presentation
Okay,
and the video.
great, just let us know,
Okay,
and let us know by the 3rd of March if possible, so we can have that name in the agenda, otherwise it would just be the representative.
So, yeah, I mean, her surgery's at 11:45, I think.
Well, we don't want you to be thinking about
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
You should be
Yeah,
focused
don't
on your
worry.
wife. But we'll prepare otherwise, and then you come if you can.
Okay.
Good,
Okay.
that sounds.
Heidi, I have one question.
Yeah.
In terms of the summer artworks, are we going to be thinking about community engagement
Oh, yes.
projects and artist talks and that sort of thing? down the
Well,
road?
if we want to do some type of like classes like we did last year, which, you know, we're not hugely successful, then we have to figure out, you know, if we're going to fund those, how we're going to fund them. Right now, what we have funding for is the 2 sculptures to be placed here and to do, you know, the normal PR we do.
Right.
But we don't have anything. But if we want to do it, we can try.
Well, the artists will be here. I think
One
that-
will be here, one will
Oh,
not.
okay.
Shelley will not be here. She can't travel. But Nikki will come, and I've asked her to do something like an artist talk or something.
Yeah, I thought that was very successful last year.
Yes, me too.
Yeah.
And we'll do PR and that type of thing.
Right.
We're gonna do PR for the mural, which I have mostly written, so. Okay, so that is
I have a question. So Shelley, I had said to you that I would be
Oh,
happy
yeah.
to
mhm.
help be the ambassador for point person for HP Smith.
Yeah.
Since Shelley will not be here, is there any, I mean, I'm assuming she's sending a team to install it?
She's sending Todd, her installer,
Okay,
and they do have some info for us.
Okay.
And April, early May, like they have, yes, we have Todd coming down, and he may need 2 or 3 hands.
okay.
And I told him that if we want maintenance, we need to ask for it ahead of time, and they can't work with us on Mondays or Tuesdays because it's trash day, so they're working around that schedule. And with Nikki, we may need a lift, so we might,
When I meet BPW again.
DPW has one of those.
Well, would it have to be that high? Because we have a,
Yeah, scissor type thing,
They're called
right?
Yeah, that's,
Forklifts.
we have,
Yeah,
this.
that's-
It's the
yeah.
platform that
Forklift.
goes up, right.
So as soon as I know how tall it needs to be, then I'll,
We
talk to
find out what
DPW.
equipment they need,
Mhm.
yeah.
Yeah,
And
so
then-
that's,
Whatever is needed at HP Smith, right?
they need very little, like as
Okay.
far as he does have a list here, but, yeah, I was like, I have it for you.
Hey, listen, if they have an installer, that's great.
I know.
Yeah.
Well, they have one guy coming, and like he said, he need maybe 2 people, but, yes,
Okay.
we'll have that. And so you're gonna take over, Shelley.
Well, I'm not gonna take over, but I'll help.
Well, we need a captain.
I'll be
Yeah.
the captain.
Okay.
We'll be the captain.
And who would like to be the captain of Nikki?
Something's wrong with the audio equipment, I didn't hear that. And-
Anybody? I'm working on 2026, okay, people? Like, that's what I'm
All right,
working
I think Susan was gonna say yes.
on. Susan has done a lot over here.
When is that?
You know,
Oh.
if they're not exactly the same time, I'd be happy. I mean, I can do that.
Well, I'll keep Nikki, you do Shelley.
Are they,
And then-
you expect the installations on the same week?
No,
No, so as long as they're not the same time, I'd
Yeah.
do that.
What's the date about?
we don't know exactly. So I'll keep Nikki, you do Shelley, and we'll keep
Okay.
moving with that.
Okay.
Okay, great. And then anything else for the art installation? Oh, one other thing. I did put in a grant, well, we did, for 2026 on Wally Dion, who we had talked about moving forward. So we put a grant in with his name at the top of it, and, you know, everything, all the funding is stopped, so we'll see how that goes. When they actually are looking at grants, hopefully we get one for
Well,
2020.
DDOA, just so everyone's aware, they are still accepting applications. They are just not awarding any grants at this time because of the grant freeze.
Awesome.
So, because the deadlines were still hard deadlines of March 3rd. Once
got 'em in.
yep, so they're done, and once they're reopened up, will be reviewed.
Yeah, so that's exciting. So because we're now on we no longer are on the DDOA like, oh, we'll give you money for this grant coming up this summer. We're on the DDOA like, we have to look a year out. So thank goodness we had somebody in the lineup that we had already talked about.
So are you feeling comfortable enough about Wally Dion if there is funding that you think this is likely to happen?
Yeah.
Good.
I've talked to him already and said,
Awesome.
yep.
Well-
And I
the
think it
Bigs
would
is
be,
really interested again.
oh,
You know,
great.
because they, the wonderful, the kinesthetic sculpture looks fabulous. If you've been to Dover, it completely adds life
Yes.
and excitement to
I've
that
seen it.
outside space. It's really amazing. But, you know, I had chatted with the curator and they're very excited or willing to have that discussion about
Yeah.
sharing with it again, so.
And the only thing about Wally Dion's is that we'd have to see if they'll last that long, because he's making a specific sculpture. I mean, not really sculpture, it's more of a quilt, but they are made for weather, but only certain amounts, so.
Okay.
But yeah, that'd be great. And I was thinking that he's coming this summer to look at the space, to make us a specific piece if we get this grant. Well, maybe if we don't, I don't know. And we have the 250 celebration next year, and so I don't know what you guys think, but I was thinking it'd be really cool to have them as entranceways into the town, like across the road.
Yeah.
Because, you know, I'm sure I'll be red flagged for that one, but I was thinking it'd be really cool.
I'm writing you up right now.
Yes.
That red flag.
So, but I mean, he may be like, I don't want to make that, no. But there's many spaces that he could enliven, but I feel like that could be really cool as a way into the town, is having something for that for the 250. And, you know, it doesn't have to say 250, it just has to complement that thought process.
Wow.
So that could be cool.
Cool.
Yeah.
Well, this
So-
group agreed to go
Yeah.
forward with that,
Yeah.
so, I mean, we already,
Yeah, we agreed to pursue this, so
Yeah.
when I saw that the deadline for the grant was March 3rd, I was like, well, good thing we already did that. And the next thing is the AARP grant, which Susan has worked tirelessly on. Thank you, Susan. Can you just give us a little update? Talking to your mic.
Yeah, so,
I'm sorry.
that was a pretty extensive proposal that we had to do. And and it's virtually done. I have a couple little nits that I have to fix in it, last minute things that came up. And then I'm going to meet with Blue tomorrow afternoon, print it out, take a final look at it, and then we need to upload. Cassidy was kind enough to create a document we can upload. She photoshopped the benches into the pictures of the park that I took. And so hopefully Friday or Monday, Janet has to actually hit the button.
Okay,
So hopefully we'll have it submitted.
yeah.
And
And
cross our fingers.
if anyone doesn't know about this project, this is Linda De
Palma.
Palma.
Right.
And she is a Baltimore artist who is actually the wife of Paul, who had the kinetic sculptures. And so these are 2 benches that would be in Mary Vessel, that's where we're
Right.
thinking. And they would be bright, and she's making them with the thought of the flora and fauna of this area.
And they're not gonna
Do you want me to
match
get this?
each other, so
Can
she
we
and
put
I
it
have
in?
talked about
Yeah,
it.
maybe.
They'll be, they'll complement each other, but they're not gonna be, you know, an
The
exact
same.
replica, and, right. And she's gonna come and visit the park and look around and make it very site-specific to what's there. So,
Yeah,
I think
so
it'll
that's
be very,
exciting.
very exciting and very
And they're
beautiful.
permanent, right?
And they'd be
Yes.
permanent, and so they'll be installed with concrete footers, and they'll, you know,
And
they're
I
powder
wonder-
coated, so they should last about 20 years before they need another powder coating.
And that might be a good question of when we get, so they don't give us the grant, or they don't give us the answer until June?
The timeline on this is really, really tight. So we get it in next week. They get back to us sometime in May or June, there's no firm date. And then we have to complete the project by the end of the calendar year. So it puts Linda on a really tight timeline because she can't order the materials until we get the grant money in June. And then she's got to order them and receive them and make the 2 benches.
And I wonder if before then, in anticipation of getting the grant, since, you know, we're gonna get the grant, we should go, do we need to go in front of mayor and council because they're permanent?
I think, yes, you do.
So
because-
I think maybe in anticipation of getting the grant, where we should go in front of mayor and council and say, this is what we wanna do. It's all, you know, hinges on we get this grant, and if we don't, we won't do anything.
Do we absolutely have to get the blessings of,
You
Mayor?
do.
It's a public,
If
So
it's-
every bench we put in a park,
No, not for
this is
every
a
bench.
permanent art installation.
Correct.
so you're considering an art installation and not a bench?
Well, it's
okay?
coming from this committee, if you wanna throw it to Parks and Rec.
already was.
Yeah, but what I mean is their initiative, then, it would need,
Yeah, and Parks and Rec was excited about it. They gave us their blessing.
correct.
And then we need to talk, once we have these things, we also need, we've already tried to talk to, Lewis and Bloom, but we haven't gotten the right person yet, so we're walking down that road.
Yeah,
Do we
another
need to-
collaboration.
So we need to get on the agenda?
For,
Yeah,
Is that for the next meeting?
not for the next one, we could do the following one.
Okay.
They have enough on that meeting, and they're already,
Well, if we need to get, I mean, if we need to get approval and, I mean, the sooner we get,
well, we're gonna put the grant in anyway. If we get it, we get it. If we don't, we don't. We don't know, but we need, what we can get on mayor and council in April and just see if we,
Right, it doesn't really matter because the grant application is due on next week.
Yeah.
So it's before there's gonna be.
but we got Parks and Rec's, blessing.
Right.
So we have PAC and Parks and Rec, so
Right.
hopefully mayor and council will be excited about this.
right.
Okay,
Heidi?
yeah.
You wanna speak to that?
Mary Vessels Park is going to be going through a bit of a transition. We're trying to make more bike parking as well, because it's a very popular, very busy park. So our recommendation would be to, let's work collaboratively with Mary Vessels and the city, because
Okay.
we're all, and Lewis and Bloom and everyone that's involved with, it's such a small
Yes.
park, but it has probably the most traffic
Yeah,
in the city. So we would like to all
And-
work together.
I did talk to Janet about it,
Yeah.
and they're in front of the pavilion, so it would be, and they'd be across from each other, so there's, I mean, her and I went out there and talked about it and really found the spot for them,
Okay.
and so,
It was just brought up last night at
Okay.
Bike Ped that, you know, what they're
All
planning on
working.
doing there, and that
Okay.
Public Art is going to be putting an installation. So just making sure everyone's on the same page and us working
Right.
together.
so where do you want me to give you that information, so if you're in any of those meetings that you can,
You
Okay.
just give me everything and we'll
Okay.
figure it out. I don't think it's gonna have to be a formal presentation.
And you're
Okay.
not
Just gonna be a work group.
Right,
Okay.
you're
Just
not
to
asking for
discuss.
permission,
No.
you're informing.
okay,
You know, it's about just keeping
Yeah,
them.
this is, yeah, it's not a formal
okay, and let me know
presentation.
if
It's
you
us
need,
working together to get it done.
Right,
okay,
Okay.
cool.
yeah.
Oh, and a few other things. One thing is there's some great art happening in the community. Biggs Museum has a great show, and I went down to the Rehoboth Art League. That's a great show.
Oh,
So I feel like we should talk about that stuff.
okay.
And then, the 250, if, the 250 celebration, which I've been going to these meetings, is really about thinking about it ahead of time so that we can collaborate the things that we do and make them work for the 250. So that's why I'm thinking ahead with Wally Dion, like, okay, how can we make that work with the 250? And, you know, maybe it's an entrance or whatever. So whatever we're doing for 2026, just keep it in the back of your mind that we're gonna be different, there are gonna be different events that will be happening in conjunction with the 250 celebration. So we wanna be part of as much as,
Right.
as we can.
And the celebration, excuse me for jumping in here, but is going to be, the idea is it would be a year-long celebration. It's not a day in the year. It's going to be experienced throughout the year.
Yeah, and kind of on a quarterly basis, we'll be doing different things. We've talked about everything from a meditation, art projects, shows in conjunction with restaurants having, you know, a meal or something, a walk, some type of thing, community events, many things at the Historical Society. So, you know, when you're thinking of next year, just think about these things and how we can link them together. So that's my 2 cents on that. Anything else? Anybody, public comment?
What's the status of the fish, the trash fish things or whatever?
Not my.
Parks and Rec had met on it. It was not last meeting, it was the meeting before. I believe you were there.
Probably.
There is a working group going back. We have met once, we have another meeting scheduled again. There's a working group that's getting together to discuss the possibilities, to discuss possible solutions.
Yeah,
So-
and my 2 cents on that is if it's not going to be done really, really well, don't do it at all. Because I feel like that's the big thing is like that fish needs to be amazing. He needs to be so cute that everybody wants to come up
Right.
to him. Yeah.
Yeah,
Otherwise, don't give us a crappy fish, you know.
right, yeah.
Okay, well, I'm glad I put my 2 cents in on that. Anybody else have, I think we have everything. I'm just getting the contracts for our artists and we're moving along to mayor and council, and we have 2 people who are possibly getting on the committee, but I don't know what's happening with that. I'm waiting for the mayor and the council to get back to me on their approval, so. Okay. Anything else?
So, Rosille, I think was the
Oh, yeah.
exhibit you were talking about at the Bigs. You'll have to hurry if you want to
Yeah,
see that one.
May-
It
March
closes on
2nd.
Sunday.
Wow.
Oh,
But Rockwell Kent goes up, and you may remember Rockwell Kent, or you've seen it as he's an illustrator, he's a printmaker, but that image of the man reaching up, the arm reaching up to the heavens, and so that's Rockwell Kent and his illustrations that are his man and nature, and so that goes up on March 20th, and it'll be up through July 6th. And then I'm looking real quickly, the kinetic sculptures are with the Bigs, so Paul Daniel, and I didn't know they were married, so that's
Yeah.
cool, that's
Mhm.
great to have them back. Paul Daniel will be up through the end of April,
Wonderful.
so we'll be sad to see those go because
I think we're all sad to see them
they
go.
have made a huge difference.
They are so, I've made a special trip to Dover to actually see them, and it is so neat because that, I'll call it a courtyard effect, is now so animated,
Mhm.
and it's, prior to that, it was always very staid and very serious.
Mhm.
So I have to tell you the funny story about the one that is mirrored.
Uh-huh.
yeah.
The state police had to come in,
Oh,
and
yeah.
actually, as you go up Martin Luther King,
Mhm.
it was so reflective that they had to cover the mirrors because it was causing people this double take kind
Yeah,
of
we had that same problem.
view. Oh,
It was scaring people in their windows.
see?
And
We
at
had
the
to
school,
move
they
it.
thought it was the fire alarm going off.
Yeah, like half the day it was the fire alarm.
Okay, well, apparently it did the same thing to the legislature.
Oh,
There you go. There you go.
maybe
So
it
woke them up.
woke
It
them
was,
up.
it was all good. And then there's a student art exhibit, I just have to get this last plug in that goes up on March 13th, and it's student artwork that
At the
are
Bigs.
partnered teachers, and there's students from all over the state. So from Laurel, Delmar, all the way to Tatnall, clear up in Wilmington. So, if you love children's artwork, you might pop in there to see that.
And that's also at the Bigs.
At the Bigs, yep, and it'll be up till May,
Wow.
through May.
Yes,
Did
lots
you
of good
wanna,
stuff.
comment, Heidi, at all on what's happening at the Rehoboth Arcade? Because I didn't know about.
There's just a great show there and it's up until March 2nd, so go
Wow.
quick. But it's totally worth it. It's really lovely.
Huh.
Dana Tinman, and it's beautiful. So I highly recommend it. It's great to see good art happening in Delaware.
Yeah.
So do I make the motion?
No.
I never get to make any motions. Can someone else make a motion to adjourn the meeting?
So moved.
No, you have to make the motion.
I move that we,
Ask for
Adjourn
public
the
comment,
meeting.
hold on.
I did, I already asked for it. Thank you.
Was there
Don't
anyone in the audience who wanted to speak? Okay. No, now, go.
I move that we adjourn the meeting.
I second.
All in favor?
Uh,
Aye. Thank you, everyone.
Record